Okay, so today what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be going through the Chess Candidates Tournament 2024, the most important, biggest chess tournament of the entire year in 2024, because the winner of this round-robin tournament gets to play for a world championship match against the current world chess champion, Ding Liren, who won last year against Jan Nepomniachtchi. So it's a very important event, and a lot of people are going to be watching it, a lot of drama is going to be happening, and there's only 8 players, so it's hard to say who's going to become the victor, and a lot of people have their guesses. So today I'm going to be talking a little bit about the players, the tournament, but mostly I'm going to actually be ranking the players in 2 different ways. One is going to be through, the candidates' actual odds of winning the event. So you see I go from 5% all the way up to 25% plus. I'm going to rank them in that way, and then after that I'm going to be going to and actually ranking them with how I think they're going to end up the final positions being placed. Now, just because they're ranked high in the percentage ranking doesn't mean they're going to become first. Let's say if someone's 25% plus, doesn't necessarily mean that I think they're going to become first place. Because again, 2 years ago, I guess, a lot of people didn't think Jan Nepomniachtchi was going to win, and they probably gave him probably a 5 to 10% chance of winning, and he destroyed the tournament. So just because they have a good percentage chance to win doesn't mean they will. So anyways, back to where we were. So this is the tournament. It's going to happen in April in Toronto, Canada. Hey, that's where I live. So I'm very excited. Hopefully I actually go and watch it. That'd be cool. Anyways, so here is the qualification and how everyone got here. So first we have Jan Nepomniachtchi. Well, he lost last year to Ding Liren, so he's automatically qualified. Next we have top 3 finishers of the World Cup. Big tournament that happened last year. Magnus Carlsen, who was the world champion until he just gave it up, he won the entire tournament, so he actually made it to the candidates. But most people knew he didn't want to do it, so he just declined. So the other top 3 finishers was Prague. He came in second. Then it was Fabiano, and then it was Najat. So those are the top 3 for that tournament. Najat was quite surprised, by the way, as you can see from his world ranking, 102 versus everyone else is the next lowest is 25. It's crazy. Next big tournament that was a qualifier was the Fide Grand Swiss, which Vidit and Hikaru ended up coming first and second. Next is the Fide Circuit, a kind of a weird, complicated thing. Basically, it takes your 5 best chess performances across the entire year and kind of gives them a score. And whoever had the best score at the end of the year qualifies, and that happened to be Gukesh. And then finally, highest rating by January 2024 was Ali Reza. So these are all of our candidates, and you can see all their ages. We have quite a range here. You see the youngest is 17 with Gukesh, and then Prague's also pretty young at 18. And historically, young players don't tend to do very well at the candidates. And also, Ali Reza's here at 20. But then we have a big chunk of people in their 30s. These two are pretty much 30, 30, 30. They're all in their 30s. So this is kind of the older generation is still competing. So the younger guys are still coming up. But you can see the world ranking, right? So Magnus doesn't count. But then you have 2, 3, 5, 6. Then it jumps to 13, 14, then up to 25, then all the way up to 102. So I think I saw somewhere that the average rating for this tournament is going to be pretty low. It's going to be 27, 20. And you can see these are the ratings here. So it's going to be a pretty interesting tournament. A lot of top players, and then players are kind of not quite at the top. It's going to be an interesting little event because last tournament was mostly the high rated players. So it was kind of a more high level tournament. This was going to have a big mix. So it's going to be a lot more complicated, I think. So anyways, that's the tournament, how it works. It works in a round robin style. So every player plays every other player 2 times. And at the end of the tournament, whoever has the highest score wins. You get 1 point for a win, half a point for a draw, and 0 for a loss. That's just kind of how it works. And one more important detail. This is actually important. If 2 players are from the same country, they have to play each other in the first round. So as you can see, Fabiano and Hikaru are both from America, which means they have to play each other in the first round in order to not have some kind of weird forced draw thing at the end of the tournament. It's just kind of a weird thing. But then we also have 1, 2, 3 players from India, so I don't know how they're going to handle that. So let's say Prague and Vidit play first, then they're going to have to play Gukesh right after that. So that makes it a bit easier for them to prepare for for the first couple rounds. So the first couple rounds should, in theory, have some super high quality openings, which should be interesting. Anyways, let's go through all the players here. First off, Jan Nepomniachtchi. He kind of rose pretty quick here in the last couple years, but he won the last two of these tournaments, which was probably the hardest tournament to win, like outright. So people always don't think he's going to do well, and then yet he always does. And he almost won last year's World Championship. In fact, I think he was basically winning the entire time, and he kind of just gave it up at the end, which is usually what happens with him. He has a really strong start, and then kind of fizzles out towards the end. So yeah, he's a really good player. He plays really quickly. So it's kind of hard to say. For Jan, it's not about him and how well he's doing. It's more about how his opponents do against him. Because last tournament, he didn't really win by being the best player. He won because everyone just fell apart when playing him. Like, it was crazy. Like, everyone just basically gave him free wins. He didn't have to try very hard. So he got very, very lucky. We'll see if this luck continues or not. But so that's a big thing. Next, we have Magnus, but he didn't qualify. Obviously, he's world number 1, been for a long time. He's probably the greatest player of all time. I think he's the GOAT, but he's not playing because obviously he doesn't like the format. And who can blame the guy? He's clearly the best. So the World Championship cycle is now all about who's the second greatest player, basically, because Magnus is obviously the best. Next, we have Prague. Prague is like, besides for Hikaru, who I'll talk about later, Prague is my favorite chess player right now. He's just such an interesting guy. He has everyone loves him. He plays some really fantastic chess. He's played one rapid game against Magnus that was just so incredible. I just, so much fun to watch. So he's a really interesting guy to look at. Of course, he is a pretty young guy, so that they don't tend to do very well in these big tournaments. But he did come second place in the World Cup, and he faced probably some of the most difficult people you could play in the World Cup. So lately his chess has been really good. I have a good feeling about him. Next we have Fabi. Fabi's been around for, well, he's been around for quite a while. He's already competed in a World Championship against Magnus and didn't lose a single game. So he's a top player, and Magnus even said that he is easily the second best classical chess player in the world other than him. So a lot of people have Fabi as the most likely to win. A lot of people put him as winning this tournament. But we'll see. I'm not 100% sure yet. Then we got Nijat Abasov. Now this guy, I don't know what happened, because in the FIDE World Cup, somehow he came all the way to the third place match and even beat Fabi in a game. And he's like barely in the top 100. Like, I don't know what happened. So this guy, I don't know what's going to happen with him. I'll talk more about him when we do the actual rankings. But he is an interesting guy. I don't really know anything about him. I didn't hear about him until the World Cup. So I don't know much about this guy. Then, of course, we have Vidit. Vidit's been around for a while, but he's never really made it too high up. As you can see, his peak rating is what is now number 14 in the world. So he's never really been a top 10 player, but recently his chess has been incredible. Like, I don't know what's going on with him, so we'll see if he can keep that going or not. A lot of people like Vidit. I like Vidit. He's a great guy, but I don't know. We'll see if he can keep it going. Next, of course, we have Hikaru. Besides for Magnus, probably the most famous chess player right now, maybe of all time. We'll see. He's my favorite guy just because he's a streamer, so I watch a lot of his content, but I think he has a lot of interesting games. And last year, he almost came second place and almost competed against Jan. But it's always hard to tell with him. I think with him, I don't think he'll be in the bottom. I don't think he'll be in the bottom. I think he'll have an okay tournament, but it's hard to say if he'll win. It's always hard to say. Sometimes he's on fire, sometimes not. It's kind of hard to say. Gukesh is the youngest guy, and he's like really up and down. Like, I remember earlier last year, he got up super high in the ratings. Like, he jumped up and he was almost top 10 in the world. Like, just rose right up, but then he just dropped all the way down. He actually made it to number 8, and now he's down to number 25. You can see right here, peak rating 27.58, dropped almost basically 30 points in like half a year. Not even. Like, that's not good. So which means his chess has been struggling recently, so it's hard to say how he'll do, especially there's a lot of pressure on him being the youngest guy. And finally, we got good old Ali Reza. Ali Reza's been struggling recently. Obviously, he's like the golden boy. He's the youngest person to ever get over 2,800. Everyone just assumed he was going to compete against Magnus, and he was going to be the next guy. Then he just kind of did not do very well at the last Fide Candidates, and then ever since then he's been struggling. As you can see, he's also lost about 40 rating points in that time. So he's struggling, but you never know with him. Sometimes he does great, sometimes he doesn't. Now, let's get to the juicy part. I'm going to show you. I'm going to rank them based on, I think, their actual percentage chance to win the entire tournament. This is not their ranking in position. It's just the percentage chance I think they have of winning the tournament. So we'll see. There we go. Sorry, I just needed some water. So, I'm going to rank them starting with here, Nepo. Now, Nepo, he's hard to say, right? Because last Candidates Tournament, I don't know. I think a lot of it was luck. It wasn't necessarily his playing style, but he did pretty well at the World Championship. And he has 2 World Championships under his belt, which means he's going to have a lot of preparation. So, he's a very scary guy in the openings, but it's really hard to say. I think Nepo, again, it doesn't come down to how he plays. It comes down to how his opponents play against him. If the opponents all play against him at their top of their game, I don't think Nepo's going to do very well. So, in the end, it's hard to say. He is also like a top player right now. His quality, his quality is still up there. He just played a game today where he just crushed a guy. So, it's hard to say, but in the end, I think I'm going to give him 15 to 20% chance to win the tournament. Very good chance. But it's really kind of hard to say. It's almost up to Nepo. He just has to bring his A game and not falter. Because I don't think he's going to get as lucky as he did last year, or last tournament. So we'll see. Next, we got Progdananda. Now, Prog is my favorite chess player right now besides Frikar. I love Prog. I just love his games. I love him as a person. Everyone in India loves him. I just love this guy. That being said, he's a very young guy. Doesn't have quite the experience as the other guys. This is his first Candidates. Besides for the World Cup that he came second place in, this is going to be the most pressure he's ever faced. And pressure, I don't know how he handles it or not. He did pretty well in the World Cup, to be fair. So do I take that all and accept that all? I don't know. It's hard to say. But I think right there, 10 to 15% chance. I think he's playing a lot more like a top 10 player than a lot of the other younger guys. So I think he has a good chance still. But we'll see. Next, we got Fabiano. He is a classic guy. Now, currently ranked number 2 in the world, actually over 2,800. Magnus even says he's the second best classical chess player, but I don't know. Fabi has this tendency to play for a win at all costs, which can cost him a lot. Because last Candidates he got off to a great start, then he lost like 3 games in the back half. So I don't know. He's a swing and a miss kind of guy, but even with that, his quality is so high, and he has so much experience that I have to give it 25% chance plus. I think he has a really good chance of winning this tournament. And I think that if he makes it all the way, plays Ding, I think he'll beat Ding for sure. But we'll see. Now, Najat, yeah. He's not even in the top 100 versus all guys who basically are like top 10 caliber players. Sorry to say, Najat, I don't think you got much of a chance, buddy. I've never seen you play any game besides for the World Cup, so it's really hard to say. That's all I can say about you, buddy. I'm sorry. Next, we got Vidit. Vidit, interesting guy. He's been around for a while, but he's never been a top 10 player. So it's hard to say. His quality of chess has been really good. He's basically at the best he's ever been. But I don't know how he's going to do under pressure. Because the Grand Swiss, he did a great job. But I don't know. I'm still going to give him 15 to 20% chance. I think he's playing some great chess right now, but I don't know. I think the pressure might get to him. It's hard to say. But I give him... He's not quite as volatile as Nepo. I think he's more likely to kind of be middle of the road. So it's kind of hard to say. But I give him a 15 to 20% chance. Next, we got Hikaru, number 3 in the world. Plays some great chess. And the only guy in here who doesn't really care if he wins or loses. Well, obviously he wants to win, but he's doing good enough that if he doesn't win the tournament, not going to destroy him, not going to be the end of the world. These other guys really, really want to win, and that puts a lot of pressure. Pressure he doesn't have. And because of this, 20 to 25% chance. I don't know if he'll win or not, but I think it's a good chance being number 3 in the world and been playing some of the best chess of the last year compared to anyone else. So I like his odds. Next, Gukesh. Man, a year ago, I would have put Gukesh up in this area probably. Playing some amazing chess, but recently he's been struggling. And I think he's got a lot of pressure on himself. I hate to do this to you, buddy, for 5 to 10%. I don't like his chances. I think he's struggling. I think he's going to maybe too ambitious or too passive. I don't know, but I don't like his odds. Finally, we got Golden Boy Ali Reza. It's hard to rank him. I mean, again, 3 years ago, I would say, boom, he's going to win the tournament probably. But I don't know. Recently, he's been really struggling. And his games have not been high quality. He hasn't really beaten very many top-level players. He's only been beaten up on little guys. So I also have to put him, sadly, down here in 5-10%. So this is how I'm ranking them. This is my percentage chance for them to win. Obviously, the top 4 rated guys. Well, I guess Prague is up there, but it's almost in terms of rating, essentially, except for Ali Reza because he's such a wild card. But Ali Reza's dropped so many rating points that I don't even consider him a top 10 player necessarily. So this is my percentage chance for them to win. Now, on to the fun part. This is totally different from the actual percentage ranking. Because the percentage ranking is just like the mathematical odds I would give them. But this is my final prediction on who I think is going to place where. So, we're going to start from the bottom and work our way up the top. Now, number 8, who I think is going to have the worst performance, come in last place. I'm sorry to do it to you, buddy, but I think it's going to be Gukesh. I'm sorry. I just think it is. Because I think he's been struggling so much. I think he has so much pressure on himself right now. I think he's going to do one of two things. Either he's going to overpress, and then he's going to either overpress and then have to save positions, turn it a draw, or he's just going to lose positions that he was winning. I think he's going to do that. Or he's going to be so passive that top players like Nepo and Hikaru and Fabi are going to run him over. And so I think he's actually going to have the worst results, me personally. Hate to do it to him. I love the guy, but that's how I think it's going to go. Now, 7th, Najat. So obviously he's the weakest player. Everyone's going to put him in last place. But the last tournament, the weakest player everyone had in last place was Rajabov. And he ended up coming 4th. And how did he do so well? Well, people just overpressed against him. Everyone assumed that he was weak and went all out. And he just defended. And he won some games. So I think with Najat, he's going to have a similar idea. He's just going to go in, be like, free roll. I'm just going to take whatever I can. And then he's just going to be super defensive, super passive, not try to win any games. And he's just going to hope that all these guys are going to overpress and then make mistakes. So I think he's either going to draw like most of his games. I think he'll probably draw 5 games, lose 2, win 1. Probably win 1 against Gukesh. That's my theory. That's what I think is going to happen. But I think he's going to just be very defensive, very passive, just hope that people make mistakes against him. That's all he's going to do. Because I totally see these guys overpressing against him. Now, 6th place, Ali Reza. Oh boy, okay, so he did do well at the last tournament. He also has an interesting play style of he plays for a win at all costs. Now, that can work in his favor really well, but not always. And I think that's why he does better against lower rated players versus players that are basically at his level or higher, because he can bully them. But people like Hikaru and Fabi and Nepo, they can defend a position. They're not going to allow you just to overrun them. So I think he's going to overpress and lose a lot of games in really weird, bad ways. I think, at least. Now, 5th place. Now we're getting to the top 5 highest rated. Like, I don't know, this was tough. But 5th place, I'm going to say Fide. I think he's playing some exceptional chess. He's playing like top 5 in the world level chess. But I don't know. I think personally the pressure's going to get to him. And he's either going to win half his games and lose half his games, or he's going to pull in a niche Geary and draw every game. I'm not sure which path he's going to take, but that's how I think. I think the pressure's going to get to the guy. I hope I'm wrong, because I love the guy, but it's hard to say. I think the pressure's going to get to him. He'll end up in the middle of the pack. Now, 4th place. Oh, I hate to do it, but Hikaru. I think Hikaru is going to have a lot of draws with a couple wins. He'll probably end on like +1 or +2. I don't think he's going to have... I don't think Hikaru's going to lose any games. I think he's going to end up on +1 or +2. I think he's going to win 1 or 2 games and draw the rest. I think he'll get into some positions that are... He's in a losing position and defend them. I think against Gukesh, he's probably going to have a losing position but then save it. I think. So I think he's going to be a bit more, passive this time around. I'm not sure. He is playing the Sicilian recently, so he could be much more up and down. He could be first, he could be last. Who knows? It's hard to say, but I'm going to put him in 4th. Next, 3rd place. I got Fabiano. I know I gave him a 25+% chance to win, but I think with Fabi, if he's not in the lead right away at the start, if he has to fight to catch up, he's going to overpress, I think. I don't know who's going to come out in front, but I think Fabiano's going to overpress in some games and get into bad positions, and I think he's actually going to lose a couple games. I think Fabiano's probably going to end a probably +1 or +2, but I don't think it's going to be good enough. I think he's going to end up in 3rd place, and he's going to be very upset about it. And I think he's going to be... I think what's going to happen is the final round, he's going to be in a position where if he wins, he'll get 1st or 2nd, but he's going to overpress and lose and come 3rd. That's my theory of what's going to happen. Now, moment of truth. We have the young prodigy versus the 2-time loser and 2-time winner. Who do I think is going to go where? Well, this may just be my ambition talking. I think Nepo's going to come 2nd. I think Nepo I think people are going to underestimate him yet again. He has so much preparation and opening theory knowledge behind him. I think he's going to have a great tournament, but I think the last guy here is going to have another great tournament, and it's going to be a battle between him and Prague. But I think Nepo ultimately is going to lose, because I think Nepo I think he'll get off to a good start in the first half like he always does. In the second half, he's going to be extremely passive. And I think Prague is going to have kind of like a ding kind of tournament where he's going to start off kind of okay in the first half, but then just destroy in the second half. So 1st place, obviously, we got Prague. Now, this could just be my hope coming through. I really want Prague to win. But I honestly think the universe really wants one of these young guys to win. And I think Prague is showing the most exceptional talent. And I think if we see him in the World Championship match, it's going to be incredible. And I think it's going to be a battle between these top 3. And I think, let's say these 3 were tied for the lead going to the last round. I think Prague's going to win his last round game. Nepo's going to be a coward and draw. And then Fabi's going to overpress and lose. And I think this is going to be our final standings. So there you have it. This is how I think the Fide 2024 candidates is going to end out. Let's see if I'm right. I'll check back in after the tournament. Maybe I'll even do some stuff during the tournament just to take a look and see. But this is how I'm going to rank them for this tournament. And oh my God, I'm so pumped for it. Oh my God. Okay, thank you very much.